Hello everybody, I would like to share with you guys today 7 knives out of my collection that I believe classify as gent knives, gentleman knives, even gentle lady knives. That just really depends if you're okay with certain opening mechanisms. To each their own, and to each their own dexterity and things like that. But so here I have in front of you guys, this is the, crap, what was it? It was a Ferrum Forge Design Gent. This was one of the first models of Ferrum Forge that came out that I thought was an absolutely wonderful little knife. It was reasonably priced. My fiance did get this for me from Drop. They are now known as Cavisa Outdoors, and Blade HQ currently actually has the Gent V2, and they're also extremely reasonably priced. But this one was a little bit more premium. It has S35 VN blade material, extremely thin behind the edge, and very reasonably thin stock too. Titanium stonewash liners, no milling on the inside, and it has these rosewood scales, and then a polished, very polished little clip on there. This is a super lightweight knife, and my definition of a nicer outing knife, a more gentle knife, doesn't really pertain to its weight and dimensions. It's more of the materials, the thinness of the blade. You're not going to be taking a sharpened brick into your dress or your dress pants. Some of these knives over here, they are a little bit weighty, but with certain scale options, you can definitely bring down the weight. I don't have the weight of any of these off the top of my head. I'm just here to show these off to you. Almost all of these knives are still available or are currently still being produced, except for this one right here and this. But I believe this is probably going to be available soon on the secondary market. This is the Cubis Blade Works by Jacob Lundquist, the variant PE2. He is currently almost finished on the PE3. I'm pretty sure at this point he already has his prototypes. The PE3 is going to be a frame lock versus this inset steel liner lock here. I believe it'll be a little bit lighter than this. This is heftier than what the dimensions would, make it to be. It looks like it would be a much lighter knife, but it's not, because the steel liners have 0 milling on the inside, but that is something that could be done at home. Just drill giant freaking slots in there and you'll definitely bring down the weight. Also, if you'd be okay with milling through titanium, you could do some form of design on the outside and other custom work to this. But in my opinion, this is a wonderful gentleman knife because of the relative thinness of the blade, how thin it is behind the edge, and just the overall appearance. It is simple, it is sleek, that doesn't scream tactical by any means. This is a wonderful little carry for sure. Nice rounded off hole for middle finger flicking. Thumb flicking is great too, and the nice little front flick right there. So there is that guy. So let's get those two out of the way. Actually, let's just get a lot of this other stuff out of the way. Just set it off to the side so my camera can focus. This right here is the WE Knife Co. Kite Fin. This is the first WE I've ever purchased, and one that I don't ever believe I'd be able to part with. Sorry about the stuff there on the blade. I do use these knives. Even if I'm not going on a nicer outing, I just love to carry all my knives of different qualities and finishes, and whether they pertain to hard use or light use. But this model is currently still available. This one is the Shred Carbon Fiber bronze anodized titanium hardware and pivot, flame anodized clip with some nicely anodized polished holes there in the clip. Beautifully bead blasted blade here, and it is ridiculously thin. A very delicate tip too. This thing just flies through material like nobody's business. Ball bearings in the pivot, ceramic detent ball, all the good stuff. Very comfortable to flip and disengage. There's jimping right down in there. And you can get a full grip on this knife, which is wonderful. Now, some people would say that in a nicer setting, you don't really need to have a full tactical grip on a knife, but even still, I'm just sharing this with you guys because I think this is a wonderful design, and overall it looks more the part of a nicer outing knife than it would a tactical knife. So yeah, this is definitely one of the favorites out of my collection. It's just it's a beautiful little piece for sure. There are some variants that are full titanium. They have like the circular milling pattern on it. Those are beautiful too, but the weight definitely goes up. This weighs hardly nothing and definitely wouldn't bring down your pants at all for sure. So there's that guy. Available at Blade HQ actually. Let's do this one over here. So a lesser known brand, Sativian. This is the model ST999 in S35 VN blade material. Extremely thin behind the edge. The stock looks like it would be on the medium side, and that tip definitely looks robust, but because of the blade's height overall in comparison to its thickness, this thing is one of the sliciest large blades out of my collection, and the action on this is freaking ridiculous. And you might say, oh well, it's loose, it's not tied down all the way. Go ahead and check out Lefty EDC. I believe on it was one of his like mixed videos where he was unboxing like a shit ton of stuff all at once, and somebody sent him this and he was messing around with it, and he was like, there's no way this knife is that smooth. That's dangerously slick. Like that is if there's something past guillotine, that's what this knife would be. And he was just going on and on about the action of this knife. It's ridiculous. So if you don't exactly trust my word, go ahead and go watch this video. He was going on and on about the action of this knife. Now, it is a large knife for sure, but the overall materials that they're using here, high quality blade material. I don't really care for the branding on the blade. Could have done without that. That's all right. That is something that could, you know, essentially be removed possibly. Of course, at your choosing and your risk, of course, but just the finishing of the materials here in the handle, it's wonderful. Having this heavily stone washed titanium, that clip is wonderful. The titanium hardware that's anodized blue. Some pieces are polished like that collar right there, and it's just such a good looking knife. Steel liners on the inside, titanium backspacer too to match it, and it's a large knife, yes, but it is a premium knife for sure. And I have taken this out multiple times on nicer occasions. It will drag your pants down a little bit, but it's worth it, and you can get an amazing grip on this knife for sure. Couple here left. This is my Spyderco Paramilitary 2. I have gussied this thing up with custom scales, clip and pin back there, or the lanyard hole tube. I got a filler from Metin Boss. I believe it's like Crystal Mokutai or something. It's really hard to appreciate in synthetic light in here, but when you take this thing out into natural sunlight, it looks like crystal metal, and it is beautiful. Now with the titanium scales here, they're high polish. I don't use this knife a whole lot, and it's funny that I put such a high maintenance scale material and finish on a knife that is typically known to be of a harder use background for sure. The action on this is suffering a little bit because I haven't tuned it properly. It's been busy with other stuff, but even still, it's a wonderful, wonderful knife. It is on the heavier side because of those scales, but this is a knife where you can definitely option for some carbon fiber scales to lighten it up. And there are plenty of other people in the custom and aftermarket that make polished carbon fiber scales. Like, imagine having shred or marble carbon fiber of a polish like this, or even a satin on this. Like, it would just be a gorgeous, gorgeous knife. And to offset the weight of the blade, maybe you can also get a carbon fiber clip too. By adding the pin, I don't personally believe it adds too much weight, but you can definitely option that out for a lighter material. But even still, I consider this to be a gentle knife to carry. Very delicate tip regardless of what kind of premium or sprint run material that they're going with here. The paramilitary too is always going to have a delicate tip, in my opinion. I've seen plenty of people snap them before. It's possible, it's gonna happen. And while this has amazing slicing potential, I don't consider this a hard use knife. It's more of a EDC kind of use knife, but the way that you're able to dress it up, it could be either or. So that's why this knife is such a popular knife, because you can do whatever the hell you want with it. You can make it rugged, you can make it everyday use, you can make it more tactical, or you can make it premium like what you see here. So there is that guy. Another Spyderco here, second to last. This was a build that took me a second to complete. It's kind of still in the process because I wasn't too happy with the hardware, but essentially what I did was I purchased a fluted titanium variant that came with a silver satin S35VN blade and all silver hardware and clip, and I wanted to achieve that look to match my Para 2. I wanted the black and the meal titanium. That's the look that I was going for. And to achieve that, I had to purchase another Native 5 that had black DLC hardware, clip, backspacer spring, and blade. That was an M4, and that's what I was going for. I was able to complete it. The only thing that doesn't match is that one screw down there and this pin. It's kind of hard to find all the pieces to match without having to buy a whole freaking unit, but it is what it is. I'm happy with the knife, and personally I have taken this out on multiple like nicer occasions. It is definitely hefty for sure, because these titanium scales are solid and they are hefty, very hefty, but a comfortable, very comfortable knife to use in hand for sure. The blade, it is on the medium thickness, but behind the edge, it's great. I have no complaints about it, and it's beautiful to look at, wonderful to use, and that's why I'm putting this in the category of a gentle use knife. At least this one. I have two lightweights and a full G10 one that I use for everyday use, and then, you know, lighter use. Last but not least is going to be my Chris Reeves small Sebenza 31. Great little knife. It is definitely heavy duty feeling, but because of its stature, pocketability, and its weight exactly at 3 ounces, I think that this is a wonderful gentleman knife. There are aftermarket clips. I do plan to get something to make a little deep carry. I don't so much mind the little lanyard tab, but I might end up removing that in the future. It's already getting chewed up just by being there. It's all frayed and stuff right in there. You can see that. Unfortunately, I think for this model, because it is the double studded one, I can't do a whole lot about the studs, so I'm kind of limited as to being able to modify this knife. But even still, because of its overall size, its fit and finish, this jimping is gorgeous back here. The thinness behind the edge, it's a hollow grind. Yeah, there's some schmuck on there because I do use it. I think that this is a wonderful gentleman carry knife, and even though this pocket clip looks pretty heavy duty, it goes in and out of dress pants very well actually. So with that completes my list of my gent knives out of my collection of all different sizes and statures and of course weight. But here we're just talking about the fit, finish, how they feel in hand, how they look. Of course, you know, they have to look fancy, you know, for a nicer outing. And there are so many other types of premium materials that you can go for. I'm kind of a basic bitch and I like black and titanium. I think it's a wonderful wonderful little look. I don't know if there's anybody who makes aftermarket scales for the gent. There probably are. I don't know if the whole pattern is still the same as for the Gent 2, which aftermarket people are probably using that as an example. But yeah, these are all wonderful knives that I would classify as gent carry knives. And yeah, with that's it pretty much. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.